Hi there, welcome to 30 Something Diaries. I am your host Pooja Singh, and I'm so happy you are here with me today. I'm honestly a little bit nervous today because today I'm going to talk about something that I never openly talked about before. Today, I want to talk a bit more about a version of myself that I tried most of my life to be the good version, the version that never disappointed anyone, the version that never did anything wrong, the version that was always too perfect, the version that always should be knowing beforehand what to do and never fails. The version that was the perfect daughter that always made her parents proud. The perfect friend who was always there for someone if they needed me. The perfect employee that never complained about anything, that never said no, and was always ready to do the extra work if it means that she gets extra accolades. And I want to talk about why that version of me, the one that everyone loved, the one that got all the praises, that was always held up as an example for others, was slowly killing the person that I was underneath that performance. So, if you have ever felt exhausted by becoming everyone else's go to person, if you have ever wondered what would your life look like if you stopped trying to make everyone happy, if you have ever felt like you are only performing goodness rather than living your life authentically, we are going to have a little chat today. I want you to get comfortable. I want you to get the tea or coffee that you want to have today. And let us talk about the quiet revolution of disappointing people on purpose and why that might be the most loving thing that you would ever do for themselves and for yourself. I am the eldest of three siblings. I am also a woman who grew up in a small town in India, and with that comes a lot of expectation. I was very little when I discovered that being good to everyone is probably a superpower, and if you are good to everyone, if you do things as everyone expects of you, are going to get a lot of praises. And being the eldest child in an Indian middle class household, especially a girl, you are supposed to be an example for your younger siblings, and you are also supposed to lead the way. Nothing wrong in that. I think I turned up to be this ambitious and go getting person because of the fact that I always thought of my actions in terms of what example I am setting for my younger siblings. And this is why I am really motivated to do things in my life. It makes my life more beautiful, and all the things that I have done in my life is solely for the fact that I really wanted to make my parents feel proud. Nothing wrong with that. But if I had to do it differently, slightly differently, I would do it from an eye of kindness, from an eye of giving myself that space and confidence and a positive self talk that I got it, rather than coming from a criticizing viewpoint, rather than pressurizing myself into ticking all the boxes for other people. And really, in this journey that I took, really in this intention of growing every single day, if I would have realized before that I don't need to appease everyone, I would have saved a lot of time and energy and a lot of mental bandwidth of my own, because I would rather move away from those notions and do the things that I want to do rather than appeasing people and wasting my time in it. As you can guess, I was the kid who was never scolded in school. All the teachers loved me. I was top of my class. I was the teacher's pet. I was really good in academics, and I always played by rules. I was also always trying to be in good books with my parents, doing things for them, never disappointing them. And I grew up to be an anxious, overwhelmed kid who would overthink every single thing around her. If something that I do is going to hurt my parents or people around me, I would not do it. I would be really scared of doing it, even though I really wanted to do that thing. And of course, because this was my behavior, the feedback was always incredible. Teachers loved me. Relatives would pinch my cheek and tell my parents how lucky they were to have a daughter like me who was a supposed good girl. And other parents would also give examples to their kids, sort of tell them to be like me. And as a little girl, as a little kid who is being told so many good things just because she's saying yes to every single thing that is expected of her, of course, You continue doing that, you do not know any better, and that becomes your personality, to appease everyone and to not disappoint anyone around you. But the truth about life is you are going to disappoint some people, if not everyone, in the journey that you are undertaking, knowingly or unknowingly. And if you are going to overthink every single step that you want to take, and if you are going to be scared of everything because you are scared of disappointing people, you're going to turn up really anxious, you're going to turn up second guessing every single thing in your life. And from personal experience, you're never going to get anywhere. If that is going to be your behavior, if that is going to be your go to, if that is all you want to do, take it from me, you're never going to be anywhere, because everyone, every single person in this life have their own opinion, have their own ways to live their lives, and they really can't decide it for the other person. But if you decide one day that I'm going to live my life from the expectations, just ticking off the expectations of other people of me, you're not going to turn up like yourself. You're not going to have a critical mindset of your own. And you are also not going to be brave enough or confident enough to take this step. Why would you want to do that? So yes, I was praised constantly for being low maintenance, for never causing any problems. And somewhere in my little kiddie brain, I absorbed this message that my self-worth is tied to what I can do for other people. So I became really, really good at reading rooms, at anticipating what adults want from me and delivering it perfectly. At school, I was that student who would remind the teacher of homework because I finished my homework and I wanted to show the teacher that I finished it perfectly. At home, I never wanted to stress my parents out. I never expressed my needs very vocally, and I would keep it to myself because I thought my parents are already overwhelmed, they are already stressed. So I don't need to be really specific about my needs. And I just want to not disappoint them by being this difficult child, difficult kid. I learned to be proud of my selflessness, my helpfulness, my ability to put everyone else's needs before me. And you know what? Gradually becoming good was not limited to something that I was doing. It became who I was. I was the good daughter, the good student, the good friend. It was my identity, my value proposition, the only way that people would love me and accept me. This pattern also followed me into my adulthood in a very insidious way. I became that friend who was always available for someone else but never voiced my needs in return, never told people that I needed them as well. I became that employee who was okay to take extra work and never voice her opinion that she's overwhelmed. I also never asked for credit. I used to feel bad about it, that I am being difficult. I was also not very confrontational, and I would just not create boundaries because I was very afraid of disappointing my management or people around me, my peers as well. I was also the dutiful daughter who would call often at home, will always paint a pretty picture for my parents that I am doing good. Because if I tell them the real truth that I am not doing good, that I'm mentally struggling, then this facade of being the strong, independent person that I am, and this facade of never appearing difficult to anyone else would fall, right? But this is what no one tells you about being the good one. It is exhausting. It gets exhausting very soon. It is so exhausting to constantly monitor other people's emotions and their reactions. It is also exhausting to continuously say yes when you really want to say no. It is exhausting to be so agreeable that you lose track of what you actually agree on. I remember being in my mid-20s and realizing one day that I don't even know what my actual preferences are. Friends would ask me if I wanted to go to dinner and where would I want to go. I would just say whatever you want, whatever you are okay with, I'm okay with that. Not because I was very flexible, I was this chill person, but mostly because I have conditioned myself out of getting into any conflict with anyone else because I want them to see and believe that I am an easy person and I am always for you. And slowly, eventually, with therapy, I realized, I came to the conclusion that this goodness wasn't actually about anything other than surviving. It was a survival mechanism for me, a way of ensuring love and acceptance by making myself dispensable, accepting and non-confrontational. Maybe you can also understand what I'm talking about. Maybe you were the good kid too, the one who never caused any problem, the one who always put others first. That love was conditional on being good, being able, and being non confrontational. Maybe you also have yourself wondering, what would I be if I am not living in others' expectation of me? What would I be if I learn to want what I want and actually say those things? What would my life look like if I actually made decisions based on my wants and needs rather than everyone else's expectation of me? Because this is the little thing that I have understood by living the 3 decades that I have lived so far. Living your life authentically would sometimes means disappointing people, creating boundaries around you, choosing yourself first, learning to say no, and learning to be your own champion, to be your own cheerleader. And all of this is difficult. These are difficult conversations that you have with yourself and with friends around you, with people around you. And most of the time, these hard conversations lead to something beautiful, but in the process, in the moment, you're going to feel very uncomfortable. You are going to be the one who has to initiate these conversations. And if you always become that accepting person of whatever is being told to you, then how are you going to develop a critical mindset and how are you going to learn to speak for yourself? Can I tell you about the exact moment when I realized that I always have this good girl facade on and it is more detrimental to my life than I understand it? It wasn't until, let's say, 28, 29 years of age, up very recently, that I learned to be this person who is okay disappointing people around her. And it came only after I lost one of the most important people in my life. There is something about being presented with question about your own mortality that you put your foot down and decide that I need to live my life, because you never know. You never know what happens. You never know how long you have on this beautiful planet that we live on. And if if at all I have limited time, then why would I want to waste it on living according to someone else's expectation? That would be doing a disservice to this beautiful life that I have been afforded. And I started small. Then once I realized it, that I was very unhappy. Every relationship or friendship that I had, I do things for people out of expectation because I was always being the good one, right? I was always doing good things for people. I was always doing things as per their expectation. And in return, I silently, very subliminally expected that they would love me, they would accept me. But that is a very unhealthy relationship to have. You would agree, because not everyone can be good to us all the time. Even when you do everything for them, expecting others to be perfectly in line with your expectations of them is also not very sustainable, because humans are flawed. Your friends are going to make mistakes sometimes, and they are probably not going to be there for you. Maybe in your workplace there are messy things that you have to get around. You thought of something, but it is not as it is. You're going to have days that are unfair, that are going to feel really messy, chaotic. And when that happens, when that happens, being the good girl, being the perfect person that you are, you will feel cheated of the fact that you did everything right. Even then, things fell apart and people moved on, and you are left with this really unsettling feeling of, even though you are a good girl, things happen to you, bad things happen to you, and it's just unfair. Truth is, yes, life is unfair. Things are going to happen no matter if you're a bad person or a good person. It is up to you to decide. And if that is the whole truth, then it liberates you. It liberates you from this expectation of living for others. It liberates you from the fact that you need to be accepting of others' expectation of you. It liberates you from the fact that you have to be this really easy person for other people. You have to be your person. You have to do things according to yourself. And you also cannot pour from an empty cup. If you haven't taken care of your own needs, if you haven't taken care of how to voice your own opinion, if you haven't taken care of how do you create boundaries around you when you are really feeling resentful and you are feeling that you are burnt out at the end of your rope, then you're not going to be able to be there for others around you in a very strong and positive manner. You're always going to be doing things for them out of obligation. And let me just tell you, it's not a very good space to be in. You can do things for obligations here and there, but if that is your whole relationship with someone, if that is your whole relationship with a place, then how are you going to find any joy in it? How are you going to feel like you are also flawed and you can be yourself and it is a safe space for you to be in, rather than being judged and everyone putting on a perfect facade? So I started disappointing people around me. I stopped taking calls if I am not feeling like it. If I feel that I need to take a break from socializing because I need to take care of my emotional and personal needs, I would do that. I would not reply for a few days if that is what I want in that moment. And I know it for a fact. I will get back to it if someone really, really needs me, and if it is really, really expected of me, if it is really urgent, I would reply back. But otherwise, if I am just taking a breather, otherwise, I know that do not need to react right now. I need to be on my own. I would do that. I will politely communicate that I am just not feeling well these days and I would like to just not socialize, not talk for a little bit. And my friends would understand, and it is not an obligation for us. I have also gone on to learn to say no a lot of times. No to people, no to events, no to things that I imagined myself not having fun. I always like to imagine myself in the future sitting here, and if I am given an opportunity, given a choice to take an opportunity, I always imagine myself that, okay, 1 hour from now, or like a half a day from now, or tomorrow maybe, how would I feel being in that situation? I am 100% sure that I am able to imagine myself and understand and know how I would react. Some things are very exciting and you never can predict, but you have a feeling, you know what you like, you know what you don't like. And if I am not gonna like it too much, and if I'm only doing it because of social obligation, I would gauge that social obligation. How much of it is required right now? Maybe I haven't been there for the other person for a long time. So I would make an exception. I would make that effort to put my needs aside and do the thing. But if I am able to take that break, if I am able to detach for a little bit, and I have been there for that person a lot of times, only this is an exception, then I would take that break without thinking that other person will be disappointed in me. I have also disappointed a lot of people when it comes to creating boundaries. And I am pretty sure later on they realized how these boundaries were good for both of us. And they have a healthy relationship with me now. I also started saying no to things at work that really doesn't align with my viewpoint, my growth areas. And it took me a lot of time to be my own spokesperson. But I did realize that if I do not map my career path, the things that I'm working on every single day, and I'm not very conscious of it, I'm only finding myself getting pulled into things that are not good for my growth areas, then I need to have a conversation. Then I need to make some amendments and I need to be my own spokesperson, because some things are in your hand. You cannot really let things pass you by. And if you don't take charge, you don't take control, then very soon you're going to find yourself in murky waters, and very soon you're going to find yourself out of control from your own career, from your own work path, whatever you want to be better. And I am still scared. I am still not 100% there, that confident person who would get it all. But I'm trying, and I have seen great results when I just learn slowly and tell myself, what is the worst that can happen in this situation? And I understand the risk. And if I need to take that risk or not, I decide then. But I've become really confident in understanding that creating boundaries and going after the things that you want to do might be disappointing for some people, but the only person that should not be disappointed at the end of it all is you, because you are in charge of your own life. Why this little reminder is so crucial in your 30s, and what are some practical ways you can learn to be okay with disappointing other people around you. Why does this whole good girl facade and breaking it become so urgent in your 30s? Because I don't think so. It is a coincidence that so many of us hit this realization around this age. Your 30s are really when the consequences of people pleasing come to real life. You're feeling exhausted and burnt out by all the people pleasing you did in your 20s. For 2 decades, you have been trying to appease other people and doing things for them. And suddenly you are exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You seem to be successful on paper, but internally you're not happy. You feel lonely among friends that are supposed to be really close to you, that are supposed to be doing things for you. And suddenly you are checking all the boxes, but you're not even sure what boxes you are checking. And also, let's be honest, you do not have infinite energy in the world. In your 20s, you can somehow run on adrenaline and excitement and somehow make it work. But in your 30s, your body is like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna let you do that if you do not take care of me. And this is also the decade when you really start looking into your relationships. What kind of relationship you want with other people? What are truly going to be long lasting relationships and friendships for you? You look closely at your own relationships and realize that you spend so much time being the perfect version for everyone else that you probably are living a lie with all of these people. That your closest relationships are probably built around a version of you that really truly doesn't exist. Career wise, you can see that the trajectory of you always saying yes, always taking on extra work, always being the reliable one who never complains, really got you thinking, is this what you want to do in the next 10 years? Am I going to be always resentful because to achieve this label of always being the helpful one, I overlooked my needs and my aspirations, and it left me burnt out. It left me feeling not okay. So, yes, I personally feel at 30, the cost of being the people pleaser becomes really undeniable. It is all in front of your eyes. You really cannot run away from it, and you have to make a change. And how do you actually do that? The first thing that I want you to do is notice how many times you people please and what are the areas and people around you that you find yourself being that people pleaser. In the next week, I want you to notice and how many times while talking to others, you minimize your own problem and tell the other person it is nothing. And when you do, I want you to be very non-judgmental with yourself. I want you to just understand why you do things and recognize your patterns at first and go back home, think about it. Think about areas in that interaction or in your daily life where you can learn to create some boundaries as little as you can, as small as you can. And the next time around you're presented with an opportunity like that, apply them, try to do them. Tell yourself what is the worst that can happen and see it come to life. Now, there are going to be interactions that might not pan out how you imagined. But what happened in the long run? You find out. You go ahead and find out that it wasn't really as bad as you imagined. And most of the things in our life are also not too deep for us to be overanalyzing every part of it. Understand what is in your control. In that exercise that you're doing, in that whole interaction that you're having with yourself, understand that there are some things that are within your control and there are a lot of things that are not in your control. But there are things that are in your control, the things that you can create boundaries around, like for say, learning to say no. Like for say, telling a friend, communicating to them that you are probably not going to be there for them for a little bit. Or you need to take a break, you need to take care of yourself today and you will make up for it and meet another time. Once you do that, actually see that because you were able to control some part of your day, control some part of your own needs, what happened in the end. This is one of the most important things. This is one of the most important mindset change that I made in my thinking that helped me overcome this inhibition, this scary thing that I was making up in my mind that I would be a bad person if I disappointed everyone else around me. Then I want you to also think of things in a different direction. I want you to think that there are going to be some people in your life or some situations where you are made to do certain things. You are made to be the person who is supposedly always good just to benefit others. And I want you to be smart about it. Whenever you are presented with an opportunity where you are told to do something, you have to understand if this is something that is only going to benefit the other person and you are sort of manipulated or twisted in a manner where a lot of work is taken out of you, a lot of your time and energy is lost of you, but it is only for the benefit of someone else. You have to be smart about it. And when you find out that the answer is yes, you will be really, it will be easier for you to start creating boundaries for your own mental and physical health and for your own time. When you understand that the more you do these things, the more you're telling yourself that you are not being there for yourself, the more your self worth is getting taken away from you. And you have to be the one who creates self worth for yourself. So, the more you create boundaries, the more you tell yourself that you are not gonna let yourself be taken for a toss, taken for granted. When the opportunity comes, you understand situations, you are smarter, you build up a sense of self worth that no one can take away from you. And then you start becoming okay with disappointing people because in the little life that you are living, you are really happy and you really do not need to be there for someone else just to facilitate their life at their convenience and not really thinking about your convenience. And in this process, I want you to be kinder to yourself. I want you to also celebrate every single win. I want you to appreciate yourself, give yourself a pat in the back anytime you create a boundary. And anytime, because of creating that boundary, you realize that you are happier, you realize that you have more time at hand, you realize that you took care of your own personal necessity at that time. And worst comes to worst, you are going to be there for yourself. The more you do this thing, the more people you disappoint or not, the more you free up time and energy for yourself, the more you create boundary, the more you are going to understand why disappointing people is a good thing at the end. Maybe think of disappointment as just a construct that people have created for their own convenience, maybe for guilting others, for being hard on people who are just trying to look out for themselves, but they are called selfish. And really, the people in your life who have your best interest in mind, they are not going to look at boundaries as disappointments. There are some valid areas, valid incidents when people feel disappointed. And you want to be around people and friends who are communicative with you, who tell you what disappointed them from a very positive, loving, and respectful standpoint. And the more you do these things, the more you create an environment around you where everyone is equal and little disappointments in your life, in your days, are not taken as red flags, and you are really not here for being the good girl. You are here for being the girl that you want to be. If you're someone who has always been good their whole life, I see you. I'm here for you. And I want you to know that you are worthy of love exactly as you are. The authentic you, the boundaried you, the disappointing you. Be gentle with yourself as you discover what is underneath all of those expectations. Remember that disappointing people sometimes doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you a real person. This is 30 something diaries, and to your authentic self, the one who has needs and boundaries and imperfections. It is worthy of love and celebration.